You are about to enter the fantasy football show. Please stand by like a boss. Estás entrado al fantasía fútbol novelas. Espera con el patrón.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios.
It's the Fantasy Football Show.
Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also
from the
live
FantasyFootballShow.com news desk. Here is your breaking news.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're here early morning here on the Fantasy Football Show with breaking Saquon Barkley news. First of all, let's take off the robe. It is an early one here in Casa de Smitty here in Arizona. 36 of you in here already. Punch that thumb up button. Saquon Barkley inking a one-year deal, as we talked about, an adjusted one-year contract. We knew it was probably going to come. We knew Saquon Barkley was probably going to show up. We knew it was probably going to be a small little delay that would cause a little ADP bump down and an advantage to be taken by all of you. And I don't understand why Saquon Barkley folded so quickly to this contract amount, because not much was offered. He was originally, I thought, offered a $13 or $14 million deal at one point, but it is what it is to him, as he said so clearly before. The Giants and Saquon Barkley agreed to a new one-year deal worth up to $11 million. Sources say Barkley gives himself a chance to beat the franchise tag amount. He gets a $2 million signing bonus, and there is $1 million in incentives. Here's another report on the Saquon Barkley contract. Compensation update. Barkley's new one-year deal with the Giants is worth $10.1 million, fully guaranteed, similar to the franchise tag amount, including a $2 million upfront signing bonus. Deal includes $1 million in incentives, with an equal amount paid for 1,300 rushing yards, 11 touchdowns, and 65 receptions. So essentially, Barkley, came back to the situation for a what I think is a very small amount in terms of what he was fighting for. But Barkley is now set to report, and that holdout, or that, I don't want to say holdout because he wasn't under contract, but that sitting out is now over, and Saquon Barkley is now back in play. Let's go. We talked about this over and over, saying that the adjusted one-year deal on the last show was potentially the solution here, and the team came to the table. Again, I think it was a very, very low offer, and considering the vibe going on with Saquon, considering the vibe going on with the RBs, I don't think it was enough, but it is what it is. It got Barkley to the table. Barkley signed the one-year deal, and he did not avoid a franchise tag for next year, though. That is something I would have made sure was included. Maybe they assured him they wouldn't franchise tag him next year. But yeah, this is something that was pretty, I think, easy to see coming at the end of the day. When you look at Barkley's interview, a lot of people took his interview out of context, but Barkley ended up saying something along the lines of, like, I could say F my team, I could say I'm just not showing up, but if you watch the entire interview, the vibe that he was giving and the tone was that he could do that, but is that what he wants to do? No. Is that what he's, gonna do? No. Has he thought about it? I mean, he's like, I don't know what I'm gonna do now. But the vibe was very clear that he wasn't gonna take this thing the distance. So, Saquon Barkley signs the one-year deal. He's back. That very short amount of time where you could take advantage is gone. This was a player that I absolutely loved at the 3.1, which is what a lot of you were able to pull off in your Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty drafts for about a week. So for about a week, people were able to take advantage of Saquon Barkley's very, very low value. And now he's going to fly right back up the board. The question is, where does Saquon Barkley climb to? Does he climb straight up to 2.1, 2.4, 2.5? I can't believe he was a 3.1 overall player. on Underdog Fantasy for about a week straight. Just sitting there. And that's why you traditionally always bet against the player holding out. Because in today's NFL, as I've said multiple times, really can't hold out. You really can't hold out. There's really no, and this wasn't a holdout. It wasn't signing his tag, but same concept. You can't just sit out. You can't sit out and not get your 10.1 million. Not to mention, there's nothing to fight for at this point other than that 1 year adjusted contract, which we talked about on the last show, which is what happened. Everything we said happened. We weren't sure how long it was going to go on. That was the concern. If Barkley were to wait, like Jacobs is looking like he's going to wait, then you have a much more likelihood of injury. If Saquon Barkley were to hold out for 2-3 weeks, then it'd be a real problem. Jacobs is one of the biggest avoids in fantasy football 2023 already. Jacobs is a guy I won't touch near his ADP. Nowhere near. Not even like a half a round or a round near his ADP. I won't go near him. And this was before the guy wasn't coming and inking his, franchise tag contract, his 1 year, $10.1 million deal. Now Jacobs is untouchable, period, because he's going to have more injury risk. He's going to have huge injury risk anyway because he's facing 8-man front after 8-man front in a bad offense with a horrible defense. And Jimmy G is his quarterback, and teams are going to say, hey, Jimmy, beat us. Go ahead and beat us, Jimmy. Let's see here. On the whole, it's too easy to replace RBs, aren't elite top 5, says Travis. Yeah, a lot of people saying that, he could have got a lot more, and I agree. I mean, this feels like a fold to me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't blame him. He wants to get his money, and I would have probably done it too, to be honest with you. I mean, look, he wants to go out and have a successful year. What did I say to you guys? He's a smart guy. And while many people will say this is not smart because he folded, this is exactly what I said was going to happen. He's not going to hold out long. It's going to be something to where he comes to the table and says, what kind of adjusted 1 year deal can we do? Can we get me a little more? Can I wet my beak just a little bit more? I want to wet my beak just a little bit more, New York. And New York gave him just a little bit. Not a lot. They gave him a little bit. And he felt comfortable enough to say, you know what? I'm going to go out there, ball out, and I'm betting on myself. I'm banking on myself. He should have got a no franchise tag clause in there, but he didn't. He should have got that. I don't know how he didn't negotiate that. He could have got that if he wanted. He could have said, hey, I'm not doing this if you don't give me a no franchise tag walking into the next offseason. But maybe they assured him they wouldn't, which is not something he can, bet on. It's 6:40 a.m. I'm walking the dog and get a message. Smitty's live. This is the best possible way to start my day. This is why you're the GOAT. Thank you for your $10 hauler, Salty. And you tell the boys. You tell the boys right there, the dogs, we said hello. And you sent them to the moon, young man. Appreciate your $10 hauler. Barkley wanted to be at camp. Doesn't want to hold out on the team. I agree. And Jack, Jack says he respects the commitment to his team and wanting to win. And as I said earlier, he's a smart guy. This is why I said he would sign. He's a smart guy because he knows that the longer he holds out, this guy that recovered from an ACL tear, he doesn't want to do this again. The longer you hold out, the more likely you are to get injured. It doesn't matter if you're working out with chains around your neck and you're doing push-ups on rubber bands and pulling Mack trucks with your teeth. You can do whatever you want. It doesn't help avoid or stave off injury if you're not out there cutting with your players on the field, on the grass, taking handoffs, getting your body ready, getting your knees ready, getting your knees in a groove, and not just thrown to the wolves where you're going to tear an ACL or go out there and rip a hamstring because you're not prepared or ready. We've got the yard guys out there in the back just demolishing the backyard, demoing the backyard and getting the yard ready. The yard, hopefully by Friday, will be a whole new backyard. I'll be live streaming back there. It'll be a nice little Nice little live stream environment, and I've got the basketball court. It's going to be a nice little thing to do. Go out there with the laptop, go live, and just every once in a while change the scenery in Casa de Smitty. Okay, so James says Robinson will get cut yet again, says Prime. Robinson will be solid cuff. I don't know about Robinson, bro, at all. I wouldn't draft him one single time. They held a Zoom call just for Barkley to turn it on them. Someone says he folded. Dial in if anybody wants to have a conversation about this. The phone line is open.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Anyway, I'm glad you're all here with me. It's early here in Arizona. 104 of you in here. Punch that thumb up button. Let's roll. You guys got any conversation, pieces or topics around this? Please hit me with your question. Dial in and we can discuss. I know it's early. For a lot of us, it's early. It's 6:48 a.m. in Arizona. I had to get out, with my bathrobe. Had to go live here and break this news. But Saquon Barkley is returning to camp. Saquon Barkley signs a 1-year deal, just like we talked about last live stream, that it was very, very likely to happen. I think, what did I say, 5% chance he holds out, the season. There you go. Always bet on the player returning, because this is not an NFL that is beneficial to a holdout player. It's not. There's no benefit for Barkley to hold out. He would have just missed money. He would have just got his body out of tune. He would have just built up some rust and cobwebs, and we've seen it end badly. And what did I tell you? Barkley's smart. Barkley's not going to sit out. Barkley should have held out for more money, or at least got a no franchise tag clause for next year. But it is what it is, as he eloquently put it. It is what it is, and he got what he felt was enough. And I think the RBs might not be upset in the group chat necessarily, but I think coming back this quickly without getting something very, very significant, at least significant to the running back community, might be looked at as like, okay. Unless, maybe the boys in the running back text are like, hey, go back, bro. Go back. I don't know if he's in that text. I don't know if he cares about that text. I imagine he does. I know Josh Jacobs is in that text, and they said, deuce out, bro. They said, Jacobs, get on a plane, go to Vegas, and deuce out. Go cause some trouble somewhere so that we all can have another reason to avoid Jacobs. Jacobs is not likely to sign. He got on a plane, and he got on a jet plane and took it on out of Vegas. He either hit the strip or he flew out. We're not sure. Saquon gonna climb again, says Vampy. Yes, he is. It's going to be interesting to see and hear where some of you took him. Where you got away with stealing Saquon Barkley away. The week of, this is like prime week on Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. It was practically like prime week. Saquon Barkley was half off for just one freaking week. And I think the overreactions caused some good underdog teams. I've got a team that I'm pretty proud of on Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. I have to admit, let me show you that little number, because I got it right here and it looks glorious. Let me see where it is. This little number right here, I was able to accumulate this little team on Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty because of the knee-jerk reactions that we were able to take advantage of for a very short period of time, as many were so petrified of Saquon Barkley not signing his franchise tag, which I understand. It's just it was in today's NFL. It's not an NFL that is conducive to a player benefiting from a holdout. And here's another report here. To be precise, Giants running back Barkley had $909,000, so under $1 million, worth in incentives added to his deal for 3 categories. Let me put this on screen as well. This is an update from Schefter just literally 32 seconds ago. So let me put this on screen. Hold on 1 second there, Brucey, while I put this info up on screen and talk about it real quick. Just hang tight there, Bruce. I appreciate you calling in.
No problem.
This right here is the incentive package that was added to his deal, according to Schefter, just 1 minute ago, about 58 seconds ago. To be precise, Giants running back Saquon Barkley had $909,000 worth in incentives added to his deal in 3 categories: $1,350 rushing plus a playoff berth, 65 receptions, 11 touchdowns, $2 million in incentives total, from what I gather. And there's a $2 million signing bonus essentially. So Barkley getting what is described as $11 million total, which is $1 million over the guarantee. There's some numbers that are crossing a little bit. They're crossing streams with some of the reports right now. But essentially we're hearing he got a $2 million signing bonus, I believe, of the $10.1 million, and then the incentive package of $1 million. And then they're suggesting another report. There's another $1 million, but it sounds like it's $11 million. Who the hell knows if there's $1 or $2 million or not? They're crossing streams, Brucey. And, but it just came out, so everybody's trying to digest it all. But this team right here, your boy, was able to create this team right here. Look at this. And I didn't even take Barkley like at 3-1. I took him at 23 overall. I took him at 2.11. But as everybody's panicking like a petrified Peter, just getting all scared, I'm not drafting Barkley. I'm not going to stay away from Barkley. Look what your boy did. Look at your boy did. I even took Jahmyr Gibbs at the turn. Don't judge me. Don't cast a stone. Just understand, I wanted to try and build this specific team, and I did it. I did it live. It's live right now. I'm 1 pick away from getting Justin Fields on top of this team right here. So this team's going to have Justin Fields in T-minus, I don't know, probably like maybe during this show. Okay? Barkley, I took at the very end of the second round, steal. Jahmyr Gibbs, don't judge me, okay? I took him in the 3rd round. Kenneth Walker, I got Jamar Chase, number 2 overall. This is one of the best starts I've had on Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty, the entire offseason, and it's because of people freaking out like petrified Peter on Saquon. Give me the Quan. Give me the Quan, Brucey. You're live. Oh, hold on, Brucey. We got a $20 super chat. Hang tight. Hang tight.
Alert. Super chat alert.
Thomas dropping a wad on screen. Thomas, appreciate you. Thomas says, I'm in an 8-man, 2 QB, 0.5 PPR Superflex keeper league where I can keep 2 players where I drafted them last year. Okay, is the pick you lose this year. Keep Saquon 3.3. Hopkins 12.6, Dameon Pierce 13, or Ramondre 15.3. Clearly you're keeping Ramondre at 15.3. That's a no-brainer. Saquon, assuming that's not 2.3, you're getting him at 3.3. I do like that. And I know that if you keep Dameon Pierce, you get that second rounder. So I guess it depends on who you would get. I don't know if you want to call in Thomas, who you would get in the second round or the third round if you were to throw Barkley back in. Like if you could give me a couple names that you believe to be available based on the keepers. And then we can kind of reassess whether Ramondre Pierce and that player is better than Saquon, Ramondre, and then potentially, 13th round is going to be a nobody. So we just got to kind of weigh that out on a board potentially. But if we assume that it's like a Jahmyr Gibbs, which I highly doubt it is because of the 2 keeper, aspect, you're talking about 5th round essentially, right? By the time you draft in round 3. Well, actually, no, because you're just writing him in, right? So, yeah, I mean, we have to go over it. Based on your assessment, what player could fall to you? Let's talk about that. Because Dameon Pierce and a Gibbs, so Dameon Pierce, Gibbs, and Ramondre is better than Saquon or Ramondre. So it just depends on what player is going to be there. If it's a Burrow, if it's a Field. So appreciate you, Thomas, dropping that. That is a tough dilemma to be in, given who could be available at the 3rd pick. You know what I mean? Overcome says, I understand the anger from the running backs when thinking that. Oh yeah. Yeah, I hear you, bro. When people sign $1 billion deals, people get upset. I get it. And when like rookie like Wemby gets 50 million, and you see another rookie not get 50 million. You see a rookie like Bijan, get a small time deal, you say to yourself, why the rookie deal structured the way they are in the NFL. The NFL is very, very, it needs to be corrected at the rookie level probably in order to mirror other sports. So great point, Overcome. Appreciate you very much. Salty Chopper, appreciate your super chat. B-Men says, where do you rank Saquon now? B-Men, are you still here? Sorry, I just saw this one. Smitty woke up in the middle of the night with Vision, Saquon 1-year deal. Overcome, appreciate you. I mean, we did call this to a degree because, it was, 5% chance he holds out. I mean, it was very, very small. It was very, 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 very good bet to bet on Saquon Barkley coming back and to buy him at his cheap pricing for as long as you could. Where do you rank Barkley now? B-Man, appreciate you with your super chat. I'd say he's top 5 to 7 running back. Easy. He's top around 2. I still draft him there. I don't go running away. Remember what I said to you guys the last live stream? I said, here's the problem. If Barkley the longer Barkley holds out, the more likely injury is. So it's Isaac. Yep, I know a lot of people who bet on sports don't know anything about. Don't know any winners. Most live chats only read super chats. That's not true here, Prez, and hopefully you know that. But what do we say when we walked out of the last live stream? That if he held out a long period of time, which I didn't think he would, the injury risk goes up. But Barkley, if he comes back, vaults up to the top of the second round. If he came back late, I would be out. If he did, the hypothetical was if he held out for, let's say, a month, would I want to draft him had he climbed back up to the 2.2? The answer is no. I made it very abundantly clear that if he had executed a long holdout, that once he did come back and he climbed back up and people were racing to get him, I would be out because the injury risk would have gone up every single day he held out. So by the time a month went by, his injury risk was really high and his ADP climbed back to normal, and I would have been deucing out. I would have been deuces. I wouldn't have come back. But that wasn't the likelihood here. The likelihood was he would sign. He's a smart guy. He wants to get to work. The idea of him holding out for a month and a half has got to drive him nuts because he's a hard worker and he's a good teammate, and he knows what time it is. There's nothing to gain by holding out. The 1 year adjusted contract was the only move. He could have held out and got maybe more money in that adjusted 1 year, but again, tough to say that he would have gotten anything more. And also, he would have had the likelihood of injury, which would have hurt his long-term deal odds for 2024 and beyond. So he had to bank on himself and say, look, I got to play. If I hold out and I get hurt, what am I going to get? What am I going to get? What if I come back a month from now and I get injured and then I can't get the long-term deal next offseason? He has to bank on himself, and I understand why he did it. You know what I'm saying? You can't sit here and judge him when he's literally telling you, I can't afford to not ball out. And if I sit out a month, they sign other running backs like they did, which isn't a factor, but, in this case, James Robinson. But if I sit out and they start game planning around me, guess what? I'm not going to have as big of a year. If I don't have as big of a year, guess what? Costs me on my next contract, which is next offseason. You can't blame the man for coming out. Brucey, you're live. What's up, pal? Thank you, B-Man. Appreciate you.
The running backs, remember when they had that big Zoom meeting or whatever? Ryan Clark was on ESPN one time, and he said, well, yeah, the running backs are underpaid, but they can't do anything until their next negotiations are up with the NFLPA. How do you feel? Would you in the NFLPA just say, look, I know I really can't, but I'm just going to give you a little leeway?
It's tough to say, bro. I mean, the collective bargaining agreement is there for a reason, like the way that they operate. There's not much that can be done. I also told people, I know people don't want to hear this because they want to defend the running back, and I do too. And I come in here and I defend running backs. And B-Man, appreciate your super chat again. B-Man says Gibbs, Walker, Najee in that order. I would say Gibbs, Walker, not. Yeah, I agree with that order. Whatever question B-Man's answering, B-Man's got it on lock right there. But people don't like this answer, Bruce. As much as I'm a running back defender, I'm a man of the people. I'm a man of the players. I really am. I'm just going to say it and shoot you straight. The market is the market. You can't really fake the market. You can't fabricate the market. You can't force teams to sign running backs to long-term deals. If running backs don't hold up, running backs don't hold up. Like, what are you going to do? What can ultimately be done? Like, what are you going to do? Say, hey, you need to pay us more than the other player. Why do we need to do that? Because we get hurt and we don't have long careers. You know what I mean? Like, think about the actual argument that you're making. There's only so much you can do. You can take away the tag, which I said is a good move. That would be my suggestion. You can try and force the market to correct itself briefly due to the deflated market that has been manipulated essentially, because once you don't sign a running back to a long-term deal, then you don't sign a running back to a long-term deal. Now Barkley did help that by signing a contract. He's the first running back to sign a contract since Nick Chubb in 2019, I believe, on a deal that has more than $10 million for the season, for the actual salary amount. He is the only running back since Nick Chubb to sign a double-digit 1-year deal or longer, and so that's good. That gets on the books as one of the top 5 salaries in the NFL. So like that helps. I don't know what the franchise tag amount will be next year. No one knows until next year, because it is not set in stone until they make cuts and it's an adjusted amount, and that we'll find out in 2024. But I feel like you can't force a team. This is an answer that nobody wants to hear. This is not the popular answer. I know everybody wants to defend the running back, but the running back market is the running back market. You could try and loft it up again and reset it, for the player, take away the tag, and that's about it. You cannot force a team to go down a road where the running back the running back cannot prove his value. Like, how are you going to force a team? If the running back could prove his value, Bruce, and this is the cold hard truth. If the running back could prove his value, the running back would get paid. At the end of the day, when this whole thing plays out, if let's say Bijan and Gibbs go out and ball out for 5 years, because they're on a 4-year deal with a 5th-year option, and they ball out to the point where the team comes to the table, and the Atlanta Falcons say in year number 4, because nobody wants to walk into the 5th-year option. They want to ink the player to a long-term deal. So let's say going into his 4th year or coming out of his 4th year, Bijan Robinson gets offered a massive payday. It's a $50 million extension for 3 years, 4 years, whatever, $40 million, whatever it is. Gets a big deal for a running back. $35 million guaranteed, $30 million guaranteed, whatever it is. And he gets that deal. Guess what? That's one stepping stone to making other teams go, okay, well, I guess we do have to pay. Running backs aren't going to hit the free agent market like we expect. It's going to, this is the precedent. This is a stepping stone. But if literally team after team says to themselves, look, we don't know if this player, that player, whoever, I don't even want to use names because we love Bijan. He's going to run for 15 years. He's not, but we hope he does. But my point being is you can't force a team to believe in a market that's not proven. The running back market, after the 5 years, the 4-year deal and the 5th-year option, if you're a first-round rookie, you don't have any proof that the running back's going to be worth a 2 or 3 year deal after that point. So franchise tagging's there, and that sucks. It sucks for the RB. It really, really does. But what are you going to do about it? How are you going to fabricate this? You can't. It is what it is. If the running back was worth more than his rookie deal on average, then he would get signed. He would get an extension. He would get a contract. Other positions are getting extended. Other positions are a hot commodity coming off of their 4th year, their 5th year. It is what it is. You can only self-correct it so much, and I hate to break it to anybody, but the running back's getting screwed because the running back doesn't last long. And that sucks. It really, if you want to change it, you got to go to the rookie contracts. You got to pay Bijan what he's worth on the front end because you know what you're getting. That's the bottom line. If you want to fix this problem, truly, you have to go back to rookie deals, restructure those deals, and allow rookies to make bank. Because in the NBA, Wemby's getting $50 million to sign as a rookie, and Bijan is not. Bijan is as good as Wemby is to the NBA. Wemby to the NBA, I would say Bijan's even more valuable. I would say Bijan to the NFL is way more valuable than Wemby to the NBA at this moment in time. That could change. Wemby could become amazing or he could flop, but Wemby getting $50 million isn't fair comparatively. If you want to look at the NFL or running back contracts or anything, you got to start there. That's where it is. That's where the discrepancy is. The rookie running backs is most valuable when he's on the lot. The moment you drive him like a vehicle off the lot, the value starts to tank. And so the rookie needs to get paid during his rookie contract. That's the plain and simple solution. Nothing else is going to fix it. You can't fabricate it. You can't fake it. You can't force it. You can't tell a team, hey, you got to sign this guy to an 8-year deal, or you got to give extensions. Why? Because, hey, Barkley, why are you afraid to not sign why are you afraid to not hit free agency and bank on yourself? Because he might get hurt. It sucks, but it's the truth of the matter. And Isaac, appreciate your $10 hauler. All $10 haulers get a moonshot, my man. And Isaac says Deshaun Watson just faked the market and got Carr, Jimmy G, and Daniel Jones crazy contracts despite having mid-seasons. Christian Kirk faked the wide receiver market, and we're now seeing the effects this year. But the problem is Kirk earned his value. Okay, he did. He actually did earn his value. And so it's justified in a way for the teams. I'm not saying it is in my mind. I'm saying the teams now go, oh, yeah, well, Kirk was worth it. And the wide receiver lasts so long that they can get those extensions, but the running back doesn't. And the running back knows it. And part of the running back's argument is we get beat up and we don't last as long and we can't get the deal. And I get it, and it sucks, but it is what it is, as Barkley said himself. And just like we talked about, I don't believe that it's going to change anything in terms of the RB. And we had this discussion on the show, and it's really hard to imagine that the running back ever isn't a player of prominence at the end of the day, because the running back gets the ball put in his hands. Everyone in high school wants the ball in their hands. We had that high school coach call in, and we asked him, we said, hey, are you feeling at the high school level that players don't want to play running back because of the contract situation in the NFL? He said, no. No. He's like, every player in high school, they're not worried about the contract yet. They're worried about being in prominence, being in the spotlight, getting the ball in their hands. The running back gets the football in their hands. And that's not going to change anybody's desire to play the running back position, because guess what? You do get the most attention as a quarterback and an RB in high school coming into the college game. And it's not going to change it. It's not. Isaac, appreciate you dropping your $10 hauler, my man. Dan the Grim Reacher dropping a dollar hauler. Appreciate you. Best Life Martial Arts says no penalties, 2 keepers. Keeping Kelsey, need 1 more. Mahomes, AJB. In redraft, you don't get extra points for stacking, so like there shouldn't be a desire to stack this as a major benefit. This is not best ball, so it doesn't matter. In some ways, it hurts you. Not in this case, it doesn't, because the offense is potent. I would probably say, bro, to be honest with you, you're drafting AJB ahead of Mahomes, but it would depend. It would depend for me the likelihood that you believe you have to get Fields or Burrow in 4, or 5. If you could get Fields in 5 or Burrow in 4, I'm going to keep AJ Brown. If you think quarterbacks are going to fly off the board in this league, your league, then and if you're able to keep Mahomes more years and it doesn't, you said no penalties, then. And you can keep Mahomes for 10 years if you wanted, I probably lean Mahomes. So there's a couple different factors at play here. If you want to call in, you can call in and we can discuss it. But I certainly think that those things would influence me. If you can keep him forever, give me Mahomes. If you can keep him for 2, 3, 4 years, you said no penalties, but is there a limit? Then that changes it for me too. But it also depends on if you think, oh yeah, I'm going to get Fields in 5. Believe me, they don't even like Fields in this league. Like, those are things that I need to know. But if I had in a vacuum, I'm saying Mahomes. If I don't have the answer to any of those pieces of information, and you're getting on a plane and the door is closing, you're like, Smitty, help! I say Mahomes, and it closes, and then I just hope it I had all the information I could have. Nobody is going to play as hard if they're prepaid as opposed to working for payday. True, but bro, you know, comparatively, the NFL versus the NBA for rookie deals is just not the same. So if you want to pry into the problem, that's the problem. You know, Bijan Robinson is probably, you could say, I mean, even a pessimistic person could say, in the top 5 for running backs in 2023. Pretty much can guarantee that this guy's gonna be a top 5 running back. He deserves to be paid like a top 5 running back because this is the only time that he could get that money. So that's where I'm talking about the rookie deals are the problem. But you can't force a team under the confines of the rules and the way the NFL's laid out, the way the contracts are laid out. You can't force a team to do anything. Because you know what? You can say, hey, you got to pay first round rookie running backs more money. Guess what? They're never going to go in round 1 again. That, you know, we just got a big W as far as the running back goes in the NFL. 2 running backs not only went in the first round, they went inside the top 12. One inside the top 10, the other inside the top 12. That is a huge W for running backs. You want to drive that opportunity and the ability for teams to say, you know what, maybe this worked. Look at the Lions. It worked for the Lions. Hey, it worked for the Falcons. It's a copycat league. If you want to take away the momentum that the running back just secured by having 2 RBs go in the top 12, be my guest. Go in and say, hey, first-round running backs get paid more. You're going to ruin it. You're going to ruin the momentum, and a running back will never get drafted in the first round again. There's only so much you can do. You can't even do it at the running back level as a rookie. You got to do it because then they just don't get drafted high. You got to do it across the league, and I don't think that's going to happen for a long time, if ever. So it is what it is, as Barkley says. Plain and simple. Nico, you're live on the show.
I mean, I completely agree with a lot of the stuff that you're saying, Smitty. You know, I think we kind of got hit with, if you just look at the running back landscape in the NFL over the last 5, 6, 7 years, we've just been hit with a lot of really bad injury luck to some guys who we thought would have great, if not Hall of Fame careers. I mean, I can tell you right now, if Todd Gurley didn't fall off a cliff following his all-pro season with the Rams, you know, he probably plays out that contract. If Le'Veon Bell goes to the Jets and performs well, he probably plays out that contract. The issue is these running backs just tend to get beat up so much in today's league. You know, you can't necessarily hit players. I kind of attribute it to the rule change they made to where, and granted, you don't want players getting CTE, but you have linebackers and defensive backs. They don't really hit up high anymore, where running backs used to be able to take those hits. It's constantly, you know, go after the legs, wrap around the waist, you know, twist players as they're falling. And that mileage adds up on their ankles, their knees, so on and so forth. And so, you know, I think it's a miracle Derrick Henry has had the career he's had. Nick Chubb has had the career he's had. But I just don't see this getting fixed or resolved.
Yeah, it can't. It can't.
Kind of the value for running backs.
It just, everyone wants it to, but it can't. You can't force the market. Like I said, you do it at the rookie level, they won't draft rookies in the first round ever again. And that momentum that the running back position just gained by getting 2 RBs to go in the top 12 will be wiped out. But yeah, I mean, as I said, I know a lot of people disagreed with me on the last live stream, and I respect that. But my take, and not only my take, but takes from defensive players that were hard-hitting defensive players. One is Eric Davis. Eric Davis obviously played defense for the 49ers back in the day, and he was a hard-hitting player. He knows a thing or two. He's a very knowledgeable guy. And I went at him in a live stream, not in a bad way, and I said, hey, Here's my theory as to why running backs don't hold up anymore in the NFL and play longer. What say you? And he agreed, and he said, absolutely. I said, is it a harder hitting NFL and harder hitting like sport, from a younger level? And he said, absolutely. He said, and this is a guy that played in an old school era. You think he would defend his old school era, right? You think he would, if he had bias involved, he would come in and say, no, back in the day, these guys are, they're nothing compared to when we were back there twisting arms and breaking fingers in the pile. And that was true. Back in the day, like back in the Jim Brown era, you'd be in the pile. Lawrence Taylor would go into the pile after the play was over, just grab his hand in there and just try and break a finger. It was rough, like for sure. But the harder hitting NFL back in the day, I don't think so. And this is coming from players that played in the old school era. I've talked to several of them before. Eric Davis, the most prominent, and Eric Davis said it's a harder hitting league. It just is. They're bigger, they're stronger, they're eating more, they're working out more. Medicine's got better. Physical training and therapy and recovery and different things have gotten better and improved. And maybe guys were bigger in certain ways, in different ways you could look at it, but they're harder hitting. And then you throw in all the rule changes, like you said, to protect the head. And now you've got like the lower body shots, as you mentioned. There's a lot of reasons why the running back doesn't hold up, but it doesn't just come from the NFL level. It comes from Pop Warner in high school and college. And if everybody's hitting harder, stronger, training at an earlier age, if the Pop Warner kids are just this much better than they used to be and hitting harder and bigger, and then when you get to high school, you walk around Texas, okay, you go to a Texas football game, you're like, wait a minute, I'm looking for the high school game. This is a college game right here. No,
yeah.
they look like college players now. And if you remember back to when some of us, I don't know how old you are, you might be a young guy, but when I went to high school and you watched a high school game, they look like Pop Warner kids. Like they can't round corners. Nobody's running precise routes. It's like you hear the drum beat, and it's like, Phillips catches the football in the flat. And he barely cuts the corner, and Phillips is running down the field, not looking smooth at all, scores a touchdown. His uniform barely fits him. That's the way it was back in the day for me when I saw a lot of these guys coming up, right? And now you go there, and it looks like a college football player, cutting smooth, striking his foot to the ground, just breaking off a crisp route, looking like a well-oiled machine, marching down the field. It wasn't that way back in my day. It looked like a bunch of amateurs out there catching rounded, cornered passes and just scampering down the field, see who can fall into the end zone. It's a much tougher game. It's tougher, more skilled from inception all the way through to high school. So those hits add up. High school adds up. Now a player, if you look at it like on a big scale, if you could look at it from 5,000 feet above and look at the path and like a heat map, so to speak, for injury and impact, you'd see a player exiting his 4-year high school career with a bunch of damage. Like if you picture it like a Google map when it shows you when you hit traffic in the line and then it goes red and then it goes green and goes red, you would literally see, if you could zoom out and look at damage and impact and all that, you would see a player coming out of high school with more damage and just say, wow, that guy took a lot more hits. In college, same thing. By the time a player gets to the NFL, their lifespan is already shorter. It's just shorter. That's because the running back position is all about hitting the hole. I always liken it to an elevator closing that you can't, stick your hand in and it reopens. Let's pretend the elevator, when the door closed, it would smash you into a million pieces if you got in there. The running back position is all about hitting the hole. You lose your step, you're done. You're done. Doesn't matter how smart you are. Didn't matter how smart Emmitt Smith was. Currently, doesn't matter how much determination and ability Adrian Peterson has when he's looking around using his intelligence and vision and all that he's learned. He loses a step, he's done. The hole closes really quick in the NFL. And so that's why that position specifically can't be defeated. Father Time gets you every time. every time. Whereas a wide receiver can play smarter, run a crispy route, lose a step and still be very good, still be a possession guy. You see wide receivers hang around longer than running backs hang around because once you lose a step, you're replaced. You're taken out. You're no longer effective at the NFL level. Running back position is just a bad position to play at the NFL level if you want longevity, but it's not going to change because it's a prominent position in high school. You get the football in your hands and you get to make a statement. So we'll see what happens. But I think you're right in a lot of ways, Nico, and I think it just, it's parallel to what I'm saying, and appreciate it. Where are you drafting Barkley? 2.1, 2.2, 2.3. The holdout, even though he didn't really hold out, the sitting out was not long. He's back. There's no more increased risk of injury. So are you taking a 2.1, 2.2, 2.3?
So I really like Barkley. I feel like in my big prominent league, I have one league I do every year, which is like a $300 buy-in. I have like the 8th pick there. So I'm considering taking him in the first. I'd reach up to like the 1.8. I kind of have him in maybe a similar tier of Pollard. I really like the Giants' run game. I like their coach. I like their offensive philosophy. And I do think it's important to note the incentives that he signed on his 1-year deal. It's incentivizing him to go out there and play like a superstar running back to get that next contract. So,
same thing with Hopkins. Hopkins and Barkley, you always want incentives in a deal if you're a fantasy football player because it makes that player work hard. Like Hopkins is going to do everything he can. The thing I love about Hopkins' deal is those the accelerators or the bonuses are category independent. So he just has to get the 10 touchdowns or whatever it was, the 10 or 1,100 yards roughly, the 80 or so catches. I forget what Hopkins' deal was exactly again off the top of my head, but it's great because it's like give me a mil in just that one category, give me a milli over in that category, give me a milli over in that category. Like Hopkins is gonna make bank if he hits his incentives. Like Barkley's are okay. I don't think this incentive package is near as good as Hopkins. Obviously, it isn't. We can see it. But it's always nice. It's always nice.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. I think as a whole, I'm kind of shocked. I was kind of surprised that the Giants didn't ink Saquon to a deal earlier. If you just look at Daniel Jones' numbers and even just watch him, just the eye test, it's night and day with Saquon on the field and off the field.
To be fair, they did offer him a deal, though, bro. And everyone keeps defending running backs and Saquon, but at the same time, we got to be honest with ourselves and say that he was offered, from what I heard, a $13+ million deal. And he did turn it down, and that was for multiple. That was $13 million a year for multiple years. I heard it was above the franchise tag ×2 at one point. I don't know if that's accurate or true. We hear a lot of different smoke and rumors, but I believe he rejected an offer that was better than what he ended up getting. And that's kind of on him to think he could control and push the market when the market is just not there. And that's why I'm saying these RBs you can't fabricate it. You can't. And I'm not defending teams and owners for shortchanging running backs. And I get that it feels like we need to step in and do something, but the markets control themselves. And if teams don't see across the board that running backs are worth more than their rookie deals, you cannot force them to feel differently. You can't. The only thing you can do is restructure rookie contracts in general to mirror the NBA and other teams where you pay the best players that are performing the best amount of money. This is not the case in the NFL. This is who lucked out and got a $50 million player for 4 years? We did. We got Bijan Robinson. We're getting a $100 million player. We got him on a 5-year deal, and at the end of it, everyone's gonna just stand up and go, "Wow, wow, wow! You had a $50 million player that you plucked out from the NFL draft. Didn't have to pay him like that. It's the rookie deals. It's on the rookie deals. It's really what it is. Like everyone's trying to come up with a solution. There really is no solution. Take away the tag for the RB. That's all you could do."
Yeah, no, I think you made a great point when you talked about the mileage that these players are walking in. It's not what it used to be. Where you look at like a player playing 3 or 4 years of college ball, and you're like, oh, well, they have some mileage on them. But right now, the high school level is essentially, especially in some of these really competitive programs, college level football. It's like D3, D2 level football in high school. I could speak from experience. I have 2 back surgeries. I played defensive line all 4 years in high school, played 12 years of Pop Warner. I got the hell beat out of me. Played in the same program as Deonte Banks, who went to Giants first round. The size of these kids on the offensive, defensive line, I'm 5'10", 230, but I can tell you some of the kids I went up against were easily 6'2", 6'3", worked out, eat, breathe, and sleep football. And the mileage that these players are coming into the NFL with now is like gigantic compared to what it was in the 90s and 2000s. It's why quarterbacks are so good coming like as rookies in their first and second year. It's because they're the same. They're at the same skill level that NFL quarterbacks were at, in their third or fourth year in the NFL back in the 2000s. So
yeah. All right, pal. Hey, appreciate you calling in. Call in anytime, Nico.
Absolutely.
Thanks, pal. Later.
Thanks.
Hey, Nico, hey, Smitty.
Yeah. What's up, Bruce?
Do you think the running backs, because Nick Chubb said this, he says, I'm betting on myself. He's in the 6th year. Are you betting on Nick Chubb? Are you going to put Nick Chubb to put in the
No. No, because this is why the teams are not wrong. I'm not saying it's fair. They're not wrong. Nick Chubb is like any running back on borrowed time. When you turn 26 years old, you're on borrowed time.
Yeah, because that's what I was asking. Like, wait a minute, Nick Chubb's betting on himself. I was like, well, maybe they should do it too.
But the thing is, everybody thinks they're different, bro. They all think they're different. Every running back thinks they're different. Oh, I'm going to last till 32 years old. And I can't blame them. I would feel the same way. But your body is going to break down. It's like there's too much data to look at. It's like whenever you ask the audience on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, the audience is there's so many answers, there's so much data. It's usually always right. The same thing here when you're looking at this amount of players with the same like pretty much start date of their career, the same number of games played, the same amount of like you start getting to a point where like you can be very predictive with it and say, look, the running back is breaking down at 28 years old. It is what it is, as Barkley said all month long. And it's just the most true statement you can say about all these top. Like, it's so funny that statement comes from Barkley because it's the most fitting, even for his situation. Nick Chubb is on borrowed time. Could he have 1.5 more years? Could he somehow have 2 years? Yes. Derrick Henry's on borrowed time. I don't know if he's going to get another year, if he's going to borrow a whole year or not, but he's on borrowed time. There's no way if I'm a team, I'm giving Henry or Nick Chubb a multi-year contract. It would be 1 year at a time situation. Would I overpay if I was a team for Henry on a 1-year deal? I probably would. Absolutely. For 1 year, sure. If I was the Buffalo Bills, I would have said, trade me Derrick Henry and we'll give you a little bonus. We'll give you a little reconstructed contract. And we'll give you like another $4 million. Just come on over to Buffalo, pal. We'll take care of you. Like, that works for me. But there's no way, if I was a team, I'm giving Henry or Chubb or any older running back a 3 or 4 year deal because they think they're different. And I understand that. I respect that. And I would feel the same way. But the odds are extremely against Nick Chubb running like an insane monster for 3 more years. I know he feels like he can do it, but the running back body breaks down, and there's a lot of data to say that 27 years old, 28 years old is about the end of the line before you have maybe a half a season and then you get injured, and it's not the running back's fault. They're getting hit at the knees, as the previous caller said. They're getting wrapped up. You can't even hit them high anymore, and then they have this mileage that's greater than any. Derrick Henry's high school numbers were absolutely insane. Derrick Henry high school game log. I'm going to type this in right now and drag it on the screen. The amount of mileage that Derrick Henry had in high school was absolutely ludicrous. Just absolutely ludicrous. Look at these numbers in high school. This is absolutely insane. I believe this is his final season in high school. This is crazy. Look at this. It looks like a quarterback's numbers. 336-3. 242-4. 303. Let me get a little highlight over here. 303-5. 510-6. 362-6. 201-3. 215-3. 455-5. 242-3. 404-6. 485-6. 189-1. What was he doing? Falling asleep this game? 189-1. That's all he pulled in. 317-4. He had 4,200 rushing yards and 55 touchdowns. Like when you look at that and you say to yourself, how is the man even running anymore? How does the man even have any ankles at this point? Like, look at that mileage. And granted, he was ripping off, 10 and 12 and 11 and 10 and 16 and 19 yards per carry. But it's like, you just ask yourself, how in the hell are these players still doing what they're doing even at 27, 28 years old? Because the mileage is crazy. That is the most insane high school game log I've ever seen in my life. It makes you want to draft him right now. Like, look, 510-6 touchdowns. That is crazy. That is crazy. His worst game was 189-1. That pathetic performance right there amongst all these other games. It's crazy, bro. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah. I said, we're on the other end of the spectrum. Like, I'm betting on running backs that bet on themselves and be like, look, give me a Dalvin. He's a bum because he got offered 1 year, $7 million by some team, and he turned it down. And beat his
look. Everyone wants to blame the league, and I get it. And I to a certain point, I agree with a lot of what people say. But Barkley was offered a contract that to me from what I've heard, sounded like a pretty darn good deal, given the current running back climate. He turned it down. He thought he could get a whole. He thought he could get a whole bunch more, and he was wrong. And they tried. Look, I've heard on good authority, Bruce, from two people I trust very close to the Giants situation, and then also Adam Schefter. I think it was Rappaport that confirmed what I'd heard. Is the Giants came to Barkley with 2 or 3 really, really very strong offers, in terms of the market, and with good intentions of wanting to get him inked before even Danny Dimes, and even after. They came to the table 3 times and said, hey, what if we do this? Hey, what if we do this? And Barkley wanted more. And I don't blame him for wanting more, but it sounds like at the end of the day, he got less than the best offer they gave him, or it's at worst equal to, but not long term. It sounds like they came to him with the 13 to 14, I hear 14.5, 13.5 in between there per year, multiple year deal with a guarantee amount that exceeded 22 to $25 million in guarantees. And I know that's not what everybody wants, but was there an incentive package like Hopkins in there, or something around the $2 to $3 million at least incentives on top of the $24 million guaranteed? I heard it was 23, 24. I don't know. But I mean, at the end of the day, you get $23, $24 million guaranteed, and you get a $2, $3, $4 million, incentive package as an RB at his age with an injury like an ACL tear that he did recover from. It's kind of on Barkley. It's kind of on Barkley that he didn't get a deal done. From what I hear, he should have signed the best offer that they did give him, and he didn't. And now he's kind of taking a back step into probably what is, in his mind, out of principle, the same amount of one of those deals. Like, you got to think about Barkley. Barkley probably came to the table and said, look, I'm not taking anything less than what you offered at least at a 1 year level. That way, it's kind of like he's saying, okay, I feel good about this. I'm getting what you offered me divided by 2. Okay, I'm finally getting that, and I'm banking on myself to go get something better, which he could do, and it end up being, better at the end of the day, possibly, because he could get a 2-year deal at the back end of this year, and then that way it'd be 3 years instead of 2 years, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But let's not feel too bad for Barkley and the running backs, because it is a market that is set by the performance of the player, and if the player's performance far exceeds the in general the running back pay, it will adjust. It will self-correct, because it's a supply and demand world and a supply and demand NFL, and there's only so much that you can blame on the team until the rookie contracts get reworked, which I don't think they will do. Brucey, I'm going to head out here.
I was wondering.
Yeah, go ahead. One more question.
I said I thought it was the deal where Barkley put the big eye emojis when I think it was Schefter or Rappaport put up the thing, and Barkley just put like a hat or something on it.
Yeah.
On Twitter.
You hear that backyard? Listen to the sound. This is the backyard. They're working on they're leveling the yard. I'm gonna try and make I'm reinvesting, and we're putting a nice little backyard in there so that your boy Smitty can do some nice live streams back there. I've got the basketball court. I just got to get it all lit up, and they're putting down the pavers right now. This crew's doing a good job. Ziggy off. Anything else, Brucey?
No, I just wanted to say, difference of opinion on but I do agree with you on the rookie running back contracts. Actually, all contracts should have the 5th-year option removed.
Yeah, I think you take away the 5th-year option, and then you take away the franchise tag for RBs, which is an unfair move, but it's the only move you can do. You can't force teams to pay them more. The only thing you could say, hey, rookie running backs in the first round get paid X amount more. Guess what? You just ruined running backs going around 1. They just got the momentum back. Gibbs and Bijan, both top 12. Like, what are we going to do? We're going to ruin that? We're going to ruin that too? All right, Brucey, appreciate you, pal.
Yep.
Later. Charles, what's up, my guy?
Hey, how are you doing? I know you kind of leave, but I was just wondering, where do you see Jacobs going, or where do you think he'll be picked up at?
Picked up at? What do you mean?
As in, he's
like the
free
airport?
agent, so where do you think he'll go?
As a free agent? What do you mean?
Like Josh Jacobs is a free agent, so where do you think he'll be picked up at?
He's not a free agent.
Oh, he's not? Oh, okay.
No, Josh Jacobs didn't sign his franchise tag, and he's doing what Barkley was doing, holding out, essentially. Or you're not holding out because you're not technically under contract, but sitting out and not signing his deal, and he's holding out. He's not getting picked up anywhere. Where he's getting picked up is the airport, and he was driven out of town, or flew out of town, or he left Las Vegas, and he's not playing football as of right now. Like he's gonna potentially sit out the season. He's threatening. Barkley was very much on the fence of not signing his deal, and like he didn't. You could tell the vibe in his interview was that he was going to end up signing his franchise tag. Josh Jacobs was slapped with the franchise tag, Charles, and he has to sign that deal, or they give him an adjusted 1-year deal like Barkley got from New York. Maybe this triggers that. But if he doesn't sign that deal or a 1-year deal adjusted based on that franchise tag amount, he's sitting out the entire season. Yeah.
Okay. Well, sorry about that.
No.
I apologize. Maybe I should listen to your show more. I apologize.
Probably. It's okay. But to answer,
I have one more.
I would say to answer your question in general, though, I do think he comes back and plays. I don't think Jacobs is dumb enough to sit out the entire season.
Okay. Well, I have a question, actually. So since it's 100+ degrees in Arizona, why do you have the fireplace going?
I like staying warm, Charles.
Okay.
It keeps me on my toes, and the show's fire, bro. Right. Hence why. Okay. And we even, on that note, Charles, We're going to go ahead and turn on the fireplace as well over in the corner. Hold on. It's on. It's on, Charles. I'm surrounded by fire.
Right.
The studio's on fire, Charles.
All right, I appreciate it, Smitty. You have a good one.
Yeah, hey Charles, call in anytime. Don't be worried about the misstep there.
Oh yeah, that was my bad.
But Jacob, to answer your greater question, Jacobs will, I think, come to the table, sign his $10.1 million deal. I think Barkley didn't do him any favors by, if you want to look at it that way, coming to the table for his deal. It's kind of like they were all locked arm striking like the writers union and the actors right now in Hollywood. And then somebody broke off and went and signed a movie deal. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know what it's gonna do to Jacobs his fight now, and not to mention, I don't know, bro. If it was me, I don't care if I'm the Raiders, but they probably don't think objectively. They probably think they can win. You can't win. You can't win. Like, I don't know why they franchise tagged him to begin with, because it really held him back from getting that bag. And what good is he going to do then? What good is Jacobs going to do in Las Vegas, running up against 8-man walls, 8-man fronts, big brick walls, and Jimmy Garoppolo just puttering down the field? I think it was a shame that he didn't get a chance to go get his one opportunity and grab it by the balls. But anyway. All right, Charles, appreciate you. Call in anytime.
You take care.
Yeah, call in anytime, pal. All right, Nico says, $5 hauler. Thanks for letting me call in, Smitty. Take care. Good luck on your backyard at Casa del Smitty. Appreciate you, Nico. Appreciate your call. Appreciate your super chat. I appreciate you. Isaac says Saquon shouldn't pay for Kadarius being a bust, says Isaac. Yeah, the market does suck. I'm not denying that. 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs, redraft. Would you rather have Chase Walker or Bijan London? I mean, that's about as even as it gets. Even like the value, like Bijan and Chase are 1, 2, 3, top 3 overall. Walker, London are both like 4th round gold, 5th round gold if they fall. I mean, I love both of those, so I'd say it's very arguable, very even. In redraft, I would probably lean Chase Walker if you could give me Charbonnet. But if not, then it's really even, Steven. That's a great question, B-Man. I'd love to know what the chat thinks. What side would you rather have in redraft? The Chase Walker or Bijan London? Let's see what the chat thinks. It's a great question. Problem is, next year Saquon is older, and the Giants can use that against him when negotiating. I don't think he'll want to go back. I think they could franchise tag him again. But I don't think they'll do that because it'll be 120% the cost, because when you franchise tag a player 2 years in a row, it's much more expensive. But at the running back cost of entry, though, for a franchise tag, maybe that's the one position that will get franchise tagged again twice, because it's such a cheap amount. For 120% is nothing. So maybe he does get franchise tagged again. Problem is, if he balls out too much, they're going to franchise tag him. And if he doesn't ball out enough, he's not going to get the deal he wants on the open market. So it's like a double-edged sword of horrible, outcomes. But Barkley's in a dilemma. He's going to go ball out. I believe in him, and I love him in the second round. And I freaking cleaned up in this underdog draft. Drafting Saquon Barkley. Look at this team right here. All these poor saps just watching me scoop them up in the near 3rd round territory. Don't you mind where I took Gibbs. Don't you judge me. Don't cast a stone when you have done the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Okay, it happened. Just ignore it. Walk around it. I took Gibbs early. Big deal. Look at this team. Barkley, Gibbs, Walker, Chase, about to take Fields. Let me see if I'm on the clock in this league. I'm 2 picks away, and Fields is sitting there. And I'm going to grab, this guy's been on the clock for 8 hours over the night. Wake up, bro. Wake up. Saquon Barkley signed his deal. Wake up. Oh, he just picked twice in a row, and he didn't take Fields. It's Fields of Dreams times, baby. Let's go. Here we go. New screenshot inbound. Here we go. Just updated this team. Putting it on screen in 5, 4, 3, 2. Ready for glory? Let me update this graphic, because it looks unbelievable. Is this not one of the best teams you've ever seen assembled on Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty? Good Lord. Just got him. As I was speaking, the guy drafted. He's probably watching the show right now. Fields, Barkley, Gibbs, Walker, Jamar Chase. Where's the bank? Where's the bank? I think I'm going to walk straight to the bank. Where's the bank? Ziggy. No, never mind. Fields of gold, fields of dreams. Look at this guy.
Leave it on the fields.
Just in time.
Fields of dreams.
Feels like making love.
Outstanding in his fields.
Feels so good.
Fields general.
My field's good, uneven playing fields.
Battlefields tested.
Fields. Fields. He's for reals.
Unbelievable squad. Is this not, can someone tell me, is this not one of the best teams you've ever seen assembled in Underdog Fantasy? Promo code Smitty. One of the best teams I've ever seen get assembled through the first 5 rounds. First 5 rounds, Justin Fields, Saquon Barkley, Jahmyr Gibbs, Kenneth Walker, Jamar Chase. Tell me. Shoot me straight. I won't get mad. Tell me your honest opinion. That is an absolute monster team, Underdog Fantasy. You in a grandma league, Smitty? This is a best ball draft full of grandmas. Apparently, I joined in right when grandmas were logging on to Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty. You know, grandmas logged on. Apparently, during bingo, I must during in between spacing of bingo tournaments, I apparently had a bunch of grandmas rushing to Underdog to jump in a league, and look at that. Look at that. That team is phenomenal. Let's see if I've got any other super chats here. Let me put this beautiful team over here. It's right in the corner. James with the super chat. He was offered multiple deals between last season and this season. Petrified Peters were worried he was never gonna waste a year in his prime sitting, says James. Agreed. That's why he told everyone to draft him. 5% chance he was going to hold out, I said. 5% chance he was going to really, really sit out the year or any sort of significant time. 5%. Boom. Now becomes 0. Today became 0. It is Saquon Barkley season. Let's ride. The guy's an absolute monster. Smitty approved Saquon Barkley.
You've just been Smitty approved.
Yeah, Matto says grandma's making cookies and drafting on Underdog Fantasy the day Smitty gets into this draft. There were grandmas everywhere in this draft. It was like Grandma Susan. It was Cookie Cutter Mary. There were so many grandmas in this particular draft. And the grandma that just drafted in front of me was taking forever. She must have been knitting a sweater. She couldn't stop counting or something. And it's absolute. Look, Melvin says straight fire team. I sent you a Palm team I drafted this morning, says Sick Nasty. Okay, I'll take a look at it. Appreciate you. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Hit that thumb up button on the way out the door. We'll be live later. We're always live when news breaks. That's how we roll. That's how Dad did it. That's how I do it. And we're live at 8 p.m. moving forward. Make sure you are on August 1, moving forward from August 1. You're live in the morning. Of course we are, D-Class. There's breaking news. D-Class, we go live when news breaks, my guy. We go live when news breaks.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
Peace out. Live at 8 p.m. Eastern, starting August 1. Appreciate all your super chats. You guys rock. Nico, thank you for your super chat. Isaac, appreciate you. B-Man, appreciate your super chat. Travis, appreciate yours. James, thank you very much. Best Life Martial Arts, appreciate you. Isaac, again, with a super chat. Thomas with that $20 hauler earlier. Overcome, appreciate you. Salty Chopper coming in strong in the beginning. B-Man dropping the first super chat of the day, which gets a standing ovation.
Mashed potatoes!
B-Man, appreciate that first super chat. I always try and give the first super chatter a standing O, especially at the end, you know, calling you out like the monster you are. All right, see you all at 7 p.m. Again, that time changes to 8 p.m. Eastern starting August 1. and then we're drafting tonight. Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. Get your app already downloaded and signed up. Use the link in the description. The link is right here as well. I'm going to drop it right now. Make sure you are signed up and ready to go. Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. Get in there and get ready so you're not scrambling. Click the link now. It's in the description of every video, including this one. Click the link now in the live chat. Sign up. $10 minimum. They'll match up to $100 in your first deposit, but get ready to draft. If you aren't already signed up, clicking that link now, you're not going to get in tonight. Peace out. Appreciate you all. Reebok, I see you. Terry Roberts, I see you. James L. Greg L. Ethan. Matt O. DJ Meat Missile. Travis Rowe, my boy. Overcome, my boy. Jack Beck. Robert. D-Class. James. Melvin Torres. Sick Nasty. Veda in the building. We'll have to go harder in Vegas next time. Veda, my boy. Reebok needs to go to bed, he says. It's past his bedtime. Get to bed, pal. B-Man, appreciate you. I'll see you all later today. Go get burrowed. People are getting burrowed left and right, and people are going to remember it.
Get burrowed.